Whether it's a short track, an intermediate track, a road course, a triangle, or a dirt track, this has been a season dominated by Bradley Holly. One of the challenges he hasn't faced yet? The high banks of a 2-mile D-shaped oval, just like the one the drivers are about to try and tackle here at Michigan International Speedway. Welcome to the Wolverine State for round 8 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. You're about to see all the action unfold live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Up in the booth, you've got yours truly, Nick Schmeg, and I'm being joined alongside tonight by a different Adam. It's Adam Young. Sean Crackers Ambrose is our director for this evening, and as always, he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, we've got a big ring of asphalt in front of us, and the drivers are wheeling around some big NASCAR trucks. Tell us a little more about the track here.
Yeah, of course, Michigan International Speedway, it's one of the handful of tracks in the United States that, well, they don't need a whole lot of an introduction. Of course, the D-shaped oval has been around since the late 60s. It's changed owners a few times, even Roger Penske owning it a few times for a while, and including when he bought California and built California up, and which is kind of the same format as Michigan, of course, with a little bit lower banking. By a little bit, I mean quite a bit lower banking. But hey, you know what we did? We cleared off the track. That way, James Krahula could have it all to himself and nobody else in danger while he gave us today's track guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Michigan International Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado, my home track. So for your laps here, it's going to be a big sprawling speedway, a lot of room to run, but getting it wound up, you're going to run all the way up here kind of right next to the fence. And then down into turn 1, you're going to let it float out of the throttle just a little bit, right down to about half throttle. Let it find the seam down here on the bottom lane. Don't go below that seam. It will de-wedge the vehicle and you'll spin out in about a heartbeat. Aiming for that crossover gate out of turn 2. Don't hit it. Turn 3 is actually really easy to overdrive here at MIS. As you can see right here, you go into the corner just too hot and it doesn't want to turn down to the bottom where the grip is. But you can still make time up here because coming out of the corner, you're going to be sailing it really high out of the corner, getting a big arc. And then you're going to see guys run right down here a lot too as the run progresses, especially for your qualifying lap, but as the race runs, because it allows for a little bit of a draft block. Back down into turn 1. Out of the gas a little bit, into it, back out to full throttle, right at about the apex of 2. Aim for that crossover gate, and back down the back stretch. A lot of room to run here. You can see guys going 2, 3 wide, maybe even 4 if they're brave enough. Turn 3, let it lift out right about where the caution light is up there on the wall. Back into the gas hard. Let it eat on the bottom, drift it out towards the fence. Out of turn 4, down the front stretch for the final time today. Down all the way here to the apron, don't clip the grass, but across the line, and that is going to complete our track guide around the Michigan International Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
And that cleanly run lap guide, as well as this entire broadcast, is brought to you once again by our awesome season-long sponsor at Established Traffic Control. Founded in 2005, Established Traffic Control is a leader in traffic control and traffic safety in the state of Pennsylvania through maintaining great relationships and providing exceptional customer service. In addition to being able to provide all you need for traffic safety, ETC makes custom signs, from street signs to company logos and everything in between. These custom signs make great gifts and wall decor as well. You have a design, ETC can make it, and shipping is available. For more information, visit establishedtraffic.com or email Brendan Chatley at bchatley@establishedtraffic.com. Just wrapping up practice here. I see a couple of new names in the field. They may have brought along some new fans as well from the broadcast. So Adam, why don't you run us down some of the race details?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pick those out here real quick. And of course, we're going to be running 55 laps here tonight. That's going to be about 110 miles. We're getting very close to the back to the end of the season. We're running 8 of 10. There is one drop in the series with the trucks. Now, the one thing we want to point out, of course, the setups are fixed, 85% fuel. So we will see pit stops here today. The other thing I want to point out is the incident cap being at 13. Now, Why is that big? Well, usually you would think that if you hit something here, you're probably going to hit it hard. But you also got to remember the backstretch has a very wide runoff. And if you get spun down to the backstretch after a 4X, you could very well rejoin the field. I would not be surprised if that instant cap plays a role in somebody's race here later on this evening. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. Now, Nick, I understand you've got the driver's points.
I do indeed. And after last week at Eldora, we saw another dominant performance from Bradley Holly, like I mentioned earlier, and his Toyota Tundra is right up at the top of the standings, but this time it's by even more, 32 points. He is putting a whooping on him. He wants to have this championship locked up before the 10th round. He's going for his 6th win tonight as they enter round 8. Braden Johnson is right behind him. He has 32 points back, like I mentioned. He's looking for his 5th top 5, but he's going to need more than consistency to get himself up there in the hunt. He's going to need a couple of wins. Thomas Sink there in 3rd. He has not won yet this year. Rob Haynes, he's looking for his 5th top 5 tonight as well. And Colton Lane sits down 88 points in 5th after jumping himself up all the way from 8th coming into last week.
Yeah, so big appearance there in the top 5 there for Colton Lane. Now, how about those team points? We got those for you too. And of course, not too much movement there out of your top 2, but still a pretty tight race with the 2 Whataback teams, the Fat Furious and Back Row Racing. I love those Whataback team names. Only about 26 points between them. And we do have a tie for 3rd, though, between one of the other Whataback teams, the Pavement Puppies and the Gray Riders. They were 64 points behind the lead, and so very big movement for those guys. Of course, that's all at the expense of the Hard Knocks Sim Sports. They dropped 2 spots there after Eldora, and they are down 82 points behind the lead. But still a very tight competition, the team points. It's going to be fun to watch as we go through the last 3 races here of the season.
Absolutely. You can see just on screen. You mentioned all of those Whataback drivers. That team we'd like to thank as well for helping sponsor tonight's broadcast. Some great drivers there. We've seen a great deal of talent out of those guys, and they are definitely doing a great job on track, especially in those team standings, all of those different teams being represented.
Of course, Whataback, a little bit of a play on one of my favorite places to eat, that being Whataburger. It should give everybody an idea about where I'm at, but whatever. But one thing, Nick, too. I mean, these guys coming off Eldora, and just such a different setup than we had at Eldora, being on dirt, of course. But really, the last couple of races for these guys have not been on any similar tracks at all.
Yeah, no, not really. The only other 2-mile track, the closest thing we've got to Michigan that they've run to this year is Pocono, which is really different, despite the size being a little bit similar. The layout, the setup, the driving style, all very different. But despite that, we've just seen time and time again Bradley Holly dominate. And even when he hasn't won, we saw him get taken out late at Daytona. And I believe it was Kentucky, the other race, or Chicagoland. It was Chicagoland that he didn't get the win. Well, he finished 4th there. So despite getting taken out late at Daytona, which is kind of a wild card track to begin with, 4th is his worst finish this year. So it is possible to adapt to different driving styles. Just haven't been able to see many more drivers than him do it this year.
We only got about 20 seconds here left in practice, and of course we'll be going to the race, or to qualifying. These guys are going to have 5 minutes to lay down 2 laps, individual runs, of course. The other thing I'm noticing out there, Nick, is just how cloudy it is. Now, that's going to be big as far as the actual driving. These guys are going to have a very even track surface through the entire event. That's going to, pretty much make it to where what the track's going to be like lap in, lap out, with the exception of the track heating up because of the tires. With this place so big, either way, though, it definitely creates an more even playing field. You don't have the areas of sun and areas of clouds or anything like that. The other thing that I'm going to like about this, and you're going to notice with how cloudy and dark it is, I don't think at least I haven't been a part of a broadcast like this. We get to see the new spark effects that are in the iRacing stuff that got put in just a couple of months ago. Man, they look great. And you'll be able to see those here today. Is even just a little brush of the wall, you'll see the sparks get kicked off.
Oh yeah, and definitely those trucks hit the splitters, hitting the different seams of this racetrack too. A lot of the drivers that I've raced with and talked to with the rolling iRacing rolling out these new updated NASCAR trucks. A lot of them have been complaining about the loose conditions that they're facing. They feel a little bit squirrely compared to the old ones. And I think this cloud cover, the overcast conditions here, like you mentioned, really going to make for some perfect racing out on the track. I think we're going to see a lot of different lines being used, a lot of different lanes and grooves being worked into the track. And here at Michigan in the trucks, you have all of that drafting and even a little bit of aero push to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, we were seeing it a lot when they were pack racing during the practice session. Is that you definitely had some guys that got moved up into the other guys because of the arrow. Looking at Rob Haynes here coming around. Rob Haynes, fairly quick in practice. Getting ready to see what he's able to put down here for his first lap, and it looks competitive so far. I expect the guys' second lap here to be fastest tonight. Some tracks, of course, it's first lap. Some laps, it's second lap. We'll see what these guys can do here.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes at the super speedways like Daytona, like I just mentioned, the first lap, you just want to ride along the top side, kind of like we're seeing Jeffrey Smith do right now. And then it's that second lap where you can get down towards the bottom and find the shortest way around this track. So time's rolling in now, but many of them, I'm sure, like you mentioned, not going to be their final hot lap times. Right now it is Adam Zemke at the top. We'll see if he's able to capitalize on that first lap and hold on to the pole.
I'm expecting that pole time to be about 3 to 4 tenths faster than what he put down. Indeed, we got a couple guys now knocking him down. Rob Haynes, he knocked off about 3 tenths off of what his first lap was. And he was one of the guys that ran the high side. Looking at Mike Richter coming across. Don't think that there it is. Okay, so that one didn't quite. I think I was one of the ones he was running the high side. Now he's running the low side here. Austin Hunter, he's getting his high line lap in.
Rob Haynes, one of those drivers in contention for this championship, still needs a really good run tonight. And another thing I didn't mention is with only 3 rounds left, these drivers, they look towards the next couple of rounds of the season to close it out. After this, we go to Bristol, and after that, it's Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the season finale. So a couple of really unique tracks there. I think Michigan, of those 3, much more of a crowd pleaser for some of the driving styles we'll see. But I think tonight's going to be a night where drivers really put it all on the line and try to get points.
Austin Hunter was a guy I was expecting to be one of the fastest ones out there here tonight. He actually just brushed the wall coming out of 4. So that is going to make it to where he will not put down a good time. He's got a little bit of aero damage out of that. But yeah, and I'm going to applaud whoever made the schedule and decided to put Most Sport there at the end, because wow, after all the real world truck races that we've seen there that have just been absolutely nuts, I can't wait to see what it's like with these guys.
Yeah, they are sure to put on a show. They sure did at Watkins Glen, the other road course we went to this season. Rob Haynes continues to hold the pole. We're watching now John LaBaff in the 911 truck.
Ooh, Charles Summer just took over that provisional pole.
He's a driver that was contending for a championship last season. He's really fallen out of it this year in terms of pace. It's nice to see the 98 truck back on top.
I think right now Nicholas Delp has 2 laps. I think that's after John LaBaff just crossed here. That was his second lap. So I think we're good to call that.
I think so. It's a big field of trucks. It looks like 36 drivers out here. If you were looking for Bradley Holly, by the way, he's going to be way down in row number 9 on the outside, I think, in 18th.
Ooh, and that's going to be the danger zone here for tonight.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And we take a look at the drivers that are hoping to get out of that danger as we take a look at our starting grid tonight. Charles Sumner, we can now call. He's got the pole tonight at Michigan. He's going to be starting alongside Rob Haynes on the outside. William Hartman and Mike Donahue in the 67 and the 70 truck going to make up row 2 with Jake Hounshell rounding out the top 5 next to Thomas Sink. Tyler Pluff and Josh Daniels are going to be 7th and 8th and 9th place, and 10th place go to Robert Basaw Jr. and Colin Carroll.
Looking at 11th place on back, John Francois Champagne. He'll be starting alongside Mike Richter, Colton Lane, and Braden Johnson. They're going to be in row 7. Kevin Fetty will be alongside John LaBaff, who we saw complete his qualifying run just a moment ago. Brandon Walter, and there is Bradley Hawley, right in smack dab in the middle of the field. He's going to have to watch out here tonight. Ray Richer and Adam Zemke will be in row 10.
More big names outside the top 20. Robert Malikian and Brendan Chatley. How about them making up row number 11 for you tonight? Nick Delp and Nick Hunter going to be making up row number 12 there. And 25th place goes to Jason Hounshell in the 00. He's starting alongside Bob McFarland in the 1. Row 14 goes to Mitchell Clark and Greg Dice. And 29th will belong to Dominic Pagine, with Jeffrey Smith starting to his outside in 30th.
And to round out the field here in 31st position starting tonight, we'll find William Lee, Austin Hunter, who brushed the wall during his fast hot lap. John Schwartz, Jeffrey Ford, Eric Roberts did not lay down qualifying times. In a quick check of those 3, only John Schwartz is not in the session. So that will start us here tonight with 33 trucks out there.
I think 37 was our biggest race of the season. That was the opening round at Gateway. Nice to see a big field out there tonight. They're going to be following Charles Sumner and Rob Haynes as they begin to roll up on those high banks here at Michigan.
You know, in Bradley Hawley, I know we're gonna harp on him a little bit just because, you know, he's really done a terrific job this season so far. But with him starting in the middle of the pack here for tonight, don't forget he was 3rd fastest in practice. He's going to be looking to make some moves early because he knows how congested it's going to be back there and everything else. If he doesn't make moves early, it might be hard to start making them once things settle down a little bit. So Bradley Hawley, I think it goes without saying, he's going to be it anyway. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on early on in this race.
Definitely. I was looking back at Charles Sumner's stats for the year. Remember, I mentioned he was 2nd place last year in the points. He's currently 8th. He's only going to be looking for his 2nd top 5 of the season. He's definitely had a subpar season compared to last year, but he's right back on top of things, trying to hold off a very hungry field here late in the season. They start to roll out of turn number 4. It's a 55-lap shootout from the Irish Hills. And it's going to be Charles Sumner, the driver out of Florida, leading them to green. He enters the restart zone here, and the green flag flies in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. It's a great start for him and the 29 of Rob Haynes as well on the outside. It's going to be William Hartman giving Sumner a good push on the inside line.
One other thing will be very interesting to see what takes precedence here in the first couple laps. Will the high line work? Will the low line work? Right now, Charles Sumner able to bring that low line at least to the lead here coming out of turn 2.
He's going to hold that inside line, going to be a little bit more defensive, kind of running the IndyCar line around here. You can see the 67 right behind him, though, of William Hartman. He's going to pick up that draft and move himself up into 2nd. Rob Haynes, he's really struggling on the outside, trying to keep up that momentum. We'll see as they get up to speed here on the front stretch. They complete lap number 1. Give it to Charles Sumner.
And see right there, you're seeing William Hartman realize that high line, trying to get a little bit of momentum going. He's going to go ahead and jump up there, see what he can do. Kind of cuts off Rob Haynes in the process, but both able to stay on the throttle. Charles Sumner now going to move up the track as well, kind of running kind of the midline between the 2 lines there, but he's going to come fully up to the top here as they start heading off into 3.
That lone truck left on the inside there, that 02 machine of Jake Hounshell. Now everyone goes down to the inside for 3 and 4, but it's going to be 4 trucks single file. Hounshell going to be looking to get 3rd place around Rob Haynes. Now he's going to be joined by Thomas Sink on the outside of him for 4th.
Battle there continues on for 4th. That's where we start seeing the side-by-sides with Hounshell and Thomas Sink. Got to go another couple cars behind that. And then we find Robert Basaw Jr., Joshua Daniels, John Francois Champagne, Colton Lane, Braden Johnson, whole bunch of guys that are fighting there in a big pack there as you go to the back end of the top 10.
Charles Sumner had to go defensive there once again on the backstretch to hold off that lead. He went to the inside to try to block the momentum from the 67, but look at the run that William Hartman's got. The driver out of Michigan at Michigan, trying to put that thing on top. How about behind him? They're going to go side by side. Thomas Sink in the 48 machine went all the way down to the apron. He's going to hold the inside through 1 and 2.
Right there, you can look at the momentum difference. By making that low line move, he was able to gain a few spots, but he could not complete it, as that's when his momentum stopped, is right about the apex there between 1 and 2. And that kind of put a stop to that momentum, but still now we got a side-by-side battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, that number 4 truck I've noticed has crept himself up to 6th place. That's Tyler Pluff. Keep an eye on him to join this action with Mike Donahue as well back in the 70. A couple of new names joining the mix up here. But they're still all following Charles Sumner. They haven't been able to get around him. I think the one getting closest, though, right now is Thomas Sink. He's still on the inside of William Hartman for 2nd.
He's really trying to make that inside work still, and still having some moderate success. But now here comes William Hartman. He's going to give Charles Sumner a big push going into 3. Back end of the field starting to spread out and get single file a little bit more. Front half of the field still running side by side quite a bit. Charles Sumner led since the green flag. He's going to lead another one.
He's led all 5 so far. They're now working lap number 6. Thomas Sink just about to clear William Hartman. He can't quite do it. Just a little bit too much speed from the 67 truck on that outside line. He carries it off the hill and down onto the backstretch too. And now he has the advantage heading into turns 3 and 4.
Been no incidents. Very clean race here so far. We're going to go over to Bradley Hawley, see how he's doing here. Has he been able to advance any? And well, the answer is yes, but only by a little bit. He's moved up now to, I believe that's going to be 14th position for him here. Make that 13th, so he's moved up 5 spots since the green flag. I think he wanted to try to get a little bit more than that, but hey, positive movement is positive movement.
Absolutely, and you mentioned how that's kind of the danger zone back there, right in the middle of the field with all this action unfolding in front of him. He's just trying to get around Jean-Francois Champagne there in the number 13 truck. Looks like he's going to be able to do that on the outside. Now he sets his sights on what is just about a 3-wide battle in front of him. Looks like Colton Lane on the inside of Braden Johnson in the 36, another championship contender.
And that got very, very close, very, very quick between Braden Johnson and Colton Lane just a moment ago. And that's exactly the kind of thing that Bradley Hawley does not want to see in front of him.
They continue to battle in this pack racing formation.
And back up front, we are following Thomas. Oh, who was that in the wall just a second ago? That was Mike Donahue. Mike Donahue tags the turn 2 wall, and the jam up just behind him. His car started to avoid him.
And he's around.
Yeah, it's just looks like the back end ended up stepping out. We're going to see it here on the GSRC replay. Get that fired up here. We're going to start this thing back, and you can kind of see the beginning of this. He's coming out of turn 2, and the car just kind of walks into the wall. Everybody has to kind of dive to the inside to get around him. He's going to go into turn 3 and 4, and I think the front end damage you mentioned on the newer trucks, how they're kind of loose. They get any kind of front end damage, and well, this starts to happen. Back end starts to come around, and that's one of those incidents I was worried that might collect a few trucks there, Nick, but thankfully, really, not that many involved.
Yeah, I think the only one that got any damage was the one that ended up hitting him coming into turn 3. That was Jean-Francois Champagne in the 13 machine. He's got a little bit of front end damage on that. You can see on the nose of that truck, he's actually got written, "It's pucker time." I think that definitely is what was going through his brain. Exactly.
But while that was while we were watching there, kind of the middle of the pack and stuff, we had been watching Thomas Sink at the start of this thing, and that inside line with him really trying to work it really kind of faded, and he ended up falling all the way back to about actually 6th or 7th position, able to recover to 5th right before the yellow. So now we'll see what these guys can do on pit stops.
Yeah, we'll see if Charles Sumner is going to be able to win the race off pit road. He's led every single lap tonight so far. Everyone looking for a clean stop. Sumner does not
He
have one. He
misses the
slides
box.
way through the box. He's still trying to get that truck
That might
lined up.
cost 5
Oh,
or 6
absolutely.
positions right there.
And we'll
Everybody's
see
taking
who
4.
hands the lead over to it. Looks like William Hartman with a good stop. He's going to be able to come out
I think
in
that was
front.
almost
And how
8 spots.
was it Tyler Pluff right behind him? And that was a 4-tire stop, too. That was just a fantastic one.
I'm going to have to go back and look, but I'm wondering if Bradley Hawley took 2 here.
Oh, he may have.
No, he took 4 tires, and I think he's going to be your big winner here on coming off the pit road.
Wow. He's up to 5th.
Yeah, so I mean that was a huge gain for Bradley Hawley.
Unbelievable. That's why they pay him the big points this season. It's the things like that. He comes out right behind Jake Hounshell, following Rob Haynes. Comes out in 3rd. He gains a position as well. But yeah, it's going to be William Hartman and Tyler Pluff, who was battling in the later half of the top 10 on that first green flag stint.
Should be a fairly quick yellow. In fact, yep, their lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to go around one more time. Everybody's forming up 2 by 2, so we'll be going back to green here in just a second.
The front row here is a mix of, it's a combination of 2 drivers racing at their, what I presume is their home track, racing out of the Michigan Club here on iRacing. Definitely some familiar territory for them. Rob Haynes right behind him. He's Canadian, so that's close enough too.
Of course, Tyler Pluff, I mean, he was trying to do something there. He was able to run consistent times right before the yellow flag. He was starting to work himself up, but still, though, Bradley Hawley, the big winner on that one. Robert Basaw Jr. able to gain a few spots. Braden Johnson able to get a few spots. Charles Sumner, I mean, he had it worked out to being in the lead, to be able to hold on to that lead. I'm going to be very interested to see now what he's going to be able to do back in traffic.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for the front, and I don't think anyone's going to be looking for the front more than the driver there that was the big mover in the pits, Bradley Hawley, back in 5th. I'm sure none of the top 4 like seeing that 184 truck already inside the top 5, but it's an early restart here for William Hartman. He gets on the loud pedal quickly, gaps himself really far back to the 2nd place truck now of Rob Haynes on the inside. Tyler Pluff must have spun the tires. He did not get going on the outside.
No, he did not. That entire outside lane suffered because of it, too. William Hartman got just a huge jump, but just like Talladega or Daytona, with the way these trucks are driving here, that may actually work against William Hartman, as I expect those guys behind him start heading toward him like just head full of steam. They might be tough to hold off here in the next lap or 2.
Yeah, Rob Haynes and Bradley Hawley on 4 fresh tires here. Even though Hartman is also on 4 fresh tires, that the aerodynamics here in the draft, he is going the closing gap. It's going to erase very quickly here. They head through turns 1 and 2, trying to get back in his slipstream. Bradley Hawley really right over the back bumper of that 29 of Rob Haynes.
These trucks do still kind of match up fairly well as far as the bumper, so good pushing here going on, trying to push everybody up. And of course, with the cooler track conditions, don't have to worry so much about overheating. Still have to watch that in the bigger pack, but at least like this, Bradley Hawley's probably going to be okay for a while. And here they come. What is the 2nd place truck of Rob Haynes going to do? He's going to go ahead, stay right behind William Hartman here, going into 1.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to tuck himself right in there into the pocket.
I think they were nicer to William Hartman than what they otherwise could have been. So Of course, then again, it's also still very early on in this race, and there's no need to force the issue. So it gives them a nice little shove going into turn 3.
And don't forget about that 85% fuel limit. Do you think they might be sitting back here trying to conserve some fuel? With
Would
about 40
not
laps
surprise me. Would not surprise me. And another thing I'm noticing too here out of William Hartman is already see some smoke. Okay, I think that was just a blinking truck. Is Rob Haynes when he's tucked right up underneath William Hartman, not touching him, but just tucked right up underneath him. I'm noticing William Hartman getting a little loose.
And these trucks, all of that dirty air being manipulated there, with these trucks running just really less than inches apart from each other right now. It's definitely got to throw these trucks around and gives these drivers a handful to deal with. See Bradley Holly. It looks like he might poke himself out of line for a little bit. He's going to tuck himself right back in there. If these guys keep driving like this, I think Jake Hounshell is the next one to reel him in back there in the 0-2 truck. He's sitting in 4th, and he has been closing in.
Mike Donahue is now on pit road after that incident earlier, and I don't know if he's going to park it for the night or whatever, but his speed was just not up there with these guys. He's fallen off the pace very quickly, so he might have parked it for the night. We'll see.
Yeah, you can certainly imagine the aero on your truck has a lot to do with your speed around here. Just a couple of crinkles in a couple different parts can really mess you up. Still single file at the front of the field. William Hartman leads.
Just been watching some of these guys. Now, this is kind of further back in the field, but guys like Ray Richard, Mike Richter, Nicholas Hunter for about 20th spot back here, man. They've been going at it the last few laps. In fact, here comes Nicholas Hunter now on the outside of Mike Richter. Really tight racing back here. This may be further back in the field, but they're definitely racing for position nonetheless.
They definitely are. Richter on the inside of Nicholas Hunter. Doesn't look like you mentioned we didn't know which line was going to be the really preferred line. Still kind of hard to tell. I can't really see if the inside or outside is the better line to be in. That time it definitely looked like Nicholas Hunter on the outside was the one to be in.
And I'm noticing that it really varies on the truck right now, and I think on driving style, with the tires still being somewhat fresh. One thing I'm noticing more and more as trucks get more and more single file is you're not seeing anybody really start to dive down and start to run that low line, particularly through 3 and 4. 1 and 2 a little bit as well. So I starting to see the line move up when they're running single file.
Yeah, almost as if they're in that kind of middle lane on the track right now.
Of course, Michigan being as wide as it is,
yeah, exactly.
You pretty much have your choice of lane.
Richter has started to fall back there, but they are all still trying to chase down these leaders, these front 3. A little bit of a shakeup right behind him. Looks like Jake Hounshell going to not be able to hold on to that 4th place position. Robert Basaw Jr. has taken over as the caution flies.
We've got a couple of cars around. Oh, Nicholas Hunter is one of them. We were just watching him. It was actually Nicholas Hunter that started it. Truck got loose on him in 4. He tried catching it. And then we'll see the result here on the GSRC replay in a minute.
Like, yeah, exactly. 10 laps on old tires.
And we got to stick with them here. And what you'll see is Gregory Dice losing it behind him as well in the exact same fashion. And they will end up touching noses, if you will, right at the tail end of this thing. And that's where they both get their damage.
Yeah, it's going to collect a couple of the drivers like that in the back. You saw he went down to the grass there. That's where he really started to lose control.
Yeah, Nicholas Hunter, he almost made that thing out of it damage-free.
Picking up all sorts of dirt and grass there on the inside, and yeah, just slid down in front of him there. Not sure if anyone was too badly harmed from that.
Well, now I imagine everybody will come down pit road and take all fours again. I think that's one thing that we learned there is I don't think you're going to see anybody gamble on 2 tires here. At least on a caution, green flag run that lasts more than a few laps.
No, and I think they should be probably closer to good on fuel here with about 35 laps to
Yeah,
go if they all fill up
I
here.
would think so.
So that should be a concern that is no longer in the minds of these drivers. But what should be a concern is getting into your stall cleanly. We saw that really decide things on the last stop. Bradley Holly, you saw there dive in early. He started way back in 18th. He has that much earlier pit stall. Looks like everyone in much cleaner this time.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody slide through. Everybody's starting to come off pit road here. William Hartman is away. He's going to go ahead and take the field back out. Rob Haynes in second. Bradley Hawley third.
Pretty much just like they came into the pits.
Let everybody cycle out here, and then we'll get the position board on there. But just eyeballing it here, I don't see anybody that made any major moves this time around.
Yeah, same here. I think Robert Basaw Jr. maybe fell back 2 spots.
Maybe Braden Johnson. Looks like he jumped 7 spots. We'll go back and look at his pit stop here real quick. And he took 4 tires. So that's interesting, is that we're seeing guys taking 4 tire stops and having huge swings in position like that.
They might want to keep that in mind if a later caution comes out. Maybe taking 2 tires isn't worth the risk. Maybe you can come out up front with 4 tires and be good on track position as well with that traction and grip you can have late in the race. And Braden Johnson, certainly a driver to really relish an opportunity like that to move up through the field. He's up to 5th with that stop. He's trying to chase down Bradley Holly in the pole. But right now, he's 2 spots behind him. As Holly sits in 3rd. He's going to have to do a little bit better than just keeping an eye on him like that.
Of course, Nicholas Hunter, he's trying to do his best to make sure he's able to stay out there as well. He's doing what he can to get some of his damage repaired. So we'll see how many more laps he's able to do. But his damage looks fairly similar to what Mike Donahue had, and he ultimately had to park it for the night. So we'll have to watch if another Whataback truck ends up falling to the wayside.
The Whataback drivers in practice before the race, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the time charts. Right now, they not so much up there. They're being interrupted by a couple different drivers.
Just looking through the field here, and of course, and the I laugh at Tony Danza car. Of course, that's good old Colton Lane there. Who anybody can laugh at Tony Danza. I guess I guess there was Who's the Boss. I guess you could laugh at him there. Nobody. No, that was probably before Next Time. Okay.
I did once.
Taxi. Yes.
Joke. I did once make a Who's the Boss joke on a GSRC broadcast. I'm going to have to go back and find that. But it was definitely inspired by that truck.
Did you have to do research for that? Because I remember when those shows were coming out.
Like Googling it quickly under the caution before it to try to come up with Tony Danza content.
Google wasn't a thing when Who's the Boss was on.
But
that's cheating, my friend.
One of our viewers can go back in past PRL NASCAR Truck Series broadcasts and find that for us. I think it was this season. It might be early.
But what I was getting ready to say is I'm just going through the field, looking at especially the new Chevys. Of course, they updated the nose to the new Chevy, and how many of them actually have it set up like the production trim levels with either the color matched grill, grill bars, or the chrome grill bars, or the black grill bars. The black ones are my favorite. It doesn't. I don't know. It just seems nicer on that new Chevy. And I'll, by the way, Nick, I'm going to hop on right now the C8R back bandwagon. We need to get that in iRacing, like now, like make it happen.
Yes. Well, we also have the iRacing Mustang pace car that is pulled off. Here they come across working lap number 25 out of 55. 31 scheduled to go. It's William Hartman leading the field down into turn number 1. Almost a little bit of contact behind him. Close racing Bradley Holly trying to get around Rob Haynes. He's going to clear him. Behind them, it's Jake Hounshell leading a very hungry group of drivers for fourth right now.
William Hartman has these restarts down. Another really good jump. But Rob Haynes, he did a lot better job than what we saw out of Tyler a little while ago. But still ends up falling all the way down to third. At least this time he's able to tuck up. And you also didn't see the huge run that the second and third was going to get here. And now you got a guy that started this race in the middle of the field, and he wants that lead. He may not play as nice here.
They come across.
Oh, we got it. We got a truck turned around in the grass going into one. Trying to see who it is. Austin Hunter, another Whataback truck.
Oh, and another one of the Hunters. First it was Nicholas, now it's Austin. And the caution is out for the third time this evening at Michigan.
He's able to keep it off that inside wall, though. You'll see here, he just kind of rolls along the front end of Mitchell Clark.
Yeah, it was the 42 of Mitchell Clark who maybe even picked up more damage than Austin Hunter there.
Either way, though, both those guys, they might still be able to run competitive lap times with the air on their nose. So, I think they'll end up being all right.
It doesn't look too bad for Mitchell Clark right now. Maybe a little bit of the right front crumpled up on that Toyota Tundra. But, yeah, definitely Austin Hunter, I think just 4 fresh tires is all he needs to get back going. Just about halfway through the racing here at Michigan. It's going to be William Hartman leading. But do you think, Adam, we'll see the same pit strategy here? Just everyone come down for 4 tires?
I don't know. This is going to be the part where it's going to be interesting. Did we run enough laps that it's worth for these guys to come down pit road or not? I have a feeling with the way that they're acting here that William Hartman's going to fake him out. We might see a few guys in the back go ahead and try it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And there we go. I see 2 trucks going down, 3 trucks going down.
Kevin Fetty and Mike Richter, the first of those 2. Ray Richer and John LaBaff also coming down. A couple more at the rear end of the field. As we get caught up here, though, we're going to step aside here just for a couple moments on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Make sure to keep track of all of the events coming up on the screen because you won't want to miss those. 25 laps is all these drivers are going to have left once they take the green flag here tonight. Once again, it's going to be William Hartman leading the very large field. We still have 33 drivers on the lead lap here in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. Round number 8 at Michigan, but it's Bradley Holly, your current points leader. Just alongside of him, he's been tucked right in line pretty much this entire race. Is this the time when he steps out and takes the lead himself? We're about to find out as the field makes their way through turns 3 and 4 now.
Of course, Hartman has had some great restarts here so far, but that outside line's been having a little bit of trouble on the restart. But one of the fastest guys before we caught that last yellow was Bradley Holly, so very interested to see what he's about to do here.
We're about to find out. Hartman's been the master of the restart so far. He's tended to get a little bit of an early jump, which has helped him. He does it again, gets going quickly. Not a fantastic start for Bradley Holly. A pretty good start for Jake Hounshell, though, who restarted in 4th. He's going to be just the nose ahead of Rob Haynes side by side as they head down into turn number 1 for 3rd place. But I think that momentum is going to shift back to the inside for Rob Haynes. He's going to look to clear him as they all continue to chase William Hartman down the back.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that was a bad restart for Bradley Holly. He was the first guy in the last couple of restarts that was actually able to hold on to 2nd position, able to get right down to the bottom line, but they're still well off William Hartman's back bumper. In fact, Bradley Holly already starting to move up the track a little bit here in 3 and 4, and as the racing's getting really tight there between Rob Haynes and Jake Hounshell, almost coming together off 4.
Rob Haynes moved up the track and really forced Jake Hounshell to do it too. He thought maybe he was clear as William Hartman went all the way down in the apron here to try to break that draft back to the 184, and the trucks following him. Still side by side for 3rd. It's Rob Haynes going to try to slip in there. Thinks better of it, gets a little bit squirrely coming off of turn 2, and now it's a drag race.
Watching those two, but also watching the front two as Bradley Holly is now caught back up to William Hartman.
Rob Haynes almost tucked a nose underneath Bradley Holly there. The momentum continues to shift here for all of these drivers all the way down in the apron for the top 3 trucks. That first one on the outside is Jake Hounshell, and the odd man out coming back up on the track is Rob Haynes. He's going to get a nose underneath Bradley Holly for 2nd. Going to try to be able to hold it, but he's had a tendency to slide up the track before. He's going to be able to hold his line this time.
Ooh, now he's going to get stuck down there by himself. He's going to fall back a little bit here as Bradley Holly is just pushing William Hartman.
Rob Haynes going to be able to slip up in front of Braden Johnson in the 36. He's going to give him some extra room. That's Colton Lane entering the picture behind him as well. And this is all single file behind William Hartman for the lead now.
Bradley Holly was all over William Hartman enough that it almost seemed like he was getting a little squirrely there at the end, but everybody's pushing everybody here going down into 2. As you're looking right there, that's Colton Lane, Tyler Puff.
Jake Hounshell, he's going to be able to step out as well of line here. He's going to move to the outside, but it's Bradley Holly following William Hartman all the way down here to that bottom seam on the racetrack. Do they go down to the apron here? It looks like they stay up on the banked surface of the track. William Hartman, just one of our 2 leaders tonight, but how about that visibility there for Bradley Holly behind him? He's got to be a little bit blind entering turn 1. He's getting very loose, like you mentioned, Adam.
I think so, but I also think it's having the effect, too, of that he's going into those corners a little bit faster than what he wants to, and he might have to burn off his tires a little bit faster in order to maintain that spot with how much Holly's pushing him going down in there, so that could be a concern as well. Might not be something that shows up for a few laps, but I definitely think it would have an effect.
Yeah, especially if he keeps entering on that inside line and kind of sawing off the apex. You can see he's really starting to gap Jake Hounshell back there between 2nd and 3rd. It's a blind entrance into turn 1 once again for Bradley Holly. William Hartman just flat out for the lead, though.
It's like I'm having a hard time just based on, this is where I need my crew chief in my ear telling me eventually which way I need to go, because I can see advantages either going to the top side or going to the bottom side for Bradley Holly when he eventually decides he's going to go ahead and try to pass William Hartman.
He gets a little bit low through 3 and 4 as we ride on board with them now. Right on the ground, you can get a sense of how kind of bumpy this track is. It is repaved, and this is the rescanned version of it. Takes a peek down there, maybe half a truck width, and just bump drafting him down the backstretch. He's trying to, I think he's just trying to shove Hartman off faster than he wants to go into one of these turns.
Yeah, eventually he's going to start washing up, kind of like how he did right there. Washing up a little bit 3 and 4. I don't think it's going to affect him too much on this lap, but Bradley Holly's strategy right now is working.
They've been out about 15 laps on this set of tires. That's the longest we've seen one of the sets of tires last tonight. These drivers definitely going to have to adapt to that. I'm sure they're not burning off as quickly as he continues to wash up a little bit. We watched further back too. This is Tyler Pluff. And,
going back a little bit further than that. Somebody's trying to go around. And Bradley Chantley. And that caused a log jam. Nicholas Delp got involved. We're going to stay green now.
That was the 66 of Dominic Bajin just getting into him there, I believe. Gave him a little bit of help. I think Chatley may have come down across his nose a little entering 3. That's what sent him loop. Kind of bounced off a couple other trucks to keep him straightened out. Back for the lead alive. It's Hartman leading Holly, but behind them, how about Haynes up into Houndshell?
We need to go back to Robert Basaw Jr. if you want to see.
And Braden Johnson in the wall. This causes a big stack up. Truck scattering all over the front stretch. A lot of side by side. Still green flag here at Michigan. Braden Johnson still trying.
Everybody's starting to get loose. Looking at who's that? That's Braden Johnson starting to get a little bit loose. He has some of the front end damage there. Big log jam, 12th on back.
He's still about 10 miles an hour slower than everyone else. He's fallen all the way to the rear, but take a look at this, the replay of what happened there with Braden Johnson's 36 machine. I believe he found the wall to start things off. We'll ride through here. I believe when he exits turn 4.
Yeah, I wanted to say, yeah.
You can see all of the different runs with a couple of drivers going side by side start to form back here. He chooses the bottom, not enough grip to hold him, almost into the back of Houndshell. And definitely into the wall.
Now all that action had a tendency, it had the effect of really starting to spread out certain portions of the field. William Hartman's been able to gain quite a bit and gap Bradley Holly a little bit. Holly still has Haynes there, but he's not tucked up right underneath. And the rest of the field going back quite a ways is now just single file. You have to go way back in the 17th, 15th, 16th, and all that back there to find some side-by-side racing.
Good battle here for what is 5th place. Colton Lane trying to hold off Colin Carroll. Now they're side by side on the front stretch as Carroll goes down there to the bottom. He's one of those big movers from that big stack up. He was able to keep it flat out through the mess and really just take advantage of some lady luck on his side. Tyler Pluff, another one right behind him.
And all he had to hear was me just saying they were, single file going back into the 17th position. It's like, no, we can't have that in the top 10. We got to do something in the top 10. So he's trying. Wreck coming off of 2, it looks like.
Oh, this is
Richter involved.
Is that Bob
McFarland's
McFarland?
involved?
Yeah. Robert McFarland in the 1. This started up with Ray Richer.
Yeah, it looks like 44. Going down into 1 bumps with Jeffrey Smith, but and he just slides it all the way almost through 1 and 2, and eventually he's gonna keep sliding, overcorrect, shoots to the wall. That's a hard hit, and sitting there spinning, and then the pack catches him.
Yeah, heavy hit into one, and then he gets T-boned there. Quite a roller coaster ride for a lot of those guys back there, but yeah, especially Ray Richard getting the worst of it, I think. And a blown motor on top of that, that's gonna definitely end his night.
Well, there's going to be no surprise here. Everybody's coming down pit road for 4 tires.
Yeah, I think even the drivers that would like to try to pull off a strategy, I think they know better than to try to do that with tires here. But we have seen some big movers like we saw earlier, Adam, with drivers taking 4 tires. It just all comes down to how clean your stop is.
Bradley Hawley's been one of those. He pulls into his box from second. He's going to get stopped clean. Watching William Hartman, is he going to be able to get stopped clean? He does. Nails his marks perfectly. Rob Haynes, though, has to back up. We already saw what that could do with Charles Sumner earlier. Charles Sumner has not been able to recover those lost positions when he missed his stops. Haynes decides he's going to go ahead and try to take 2 tires after missing his pit box there.
He comes out in front of Hartman, and Colton Lane as well has gone from 5th up to 3rd. Bradley Hawley, he's fallen from 2nd to 4th.
But you got 2 guys up there with 2 tires, so it could get interesting.
I think it definitely will. And a lot of these guys looking for their first win of the season. We've only seen, despite this being the 8th round, we've only seen 3 different winners. Bradley Hawley's had 5 of them. Braden Johnson has 1, and Jason Jacoby had 1 earlier at the beginning of the season as well. Not with us tonight. But they are going to be following Rob Haynes, and I admire the 2-tire strategy, but he's going to be starting on the same row as William Hartman with 4 tires. It's just, it doesn't look good.
Well, his advantage here is going to be the fact that outside row has just not had good restarts. Now, the best restarter of the night is going to be leading that outside row this time, so maybe that could be the great equalizer. Don't know, but Rob Haynes definitely needs to have a good restart here. He has to hit the hammer hard and try to do something. If he can edge in front of those guys, then he has a chance, but he's still going to have to, hold off the Lions, and that's going to be a tough task.
A couple of the caution-filled races here in the PRL this season have come down to that 55-minute time limit. Well, we've got 13 minutes left on the clock, so we look pretty good for that, especially if we stay green here, as we're going to have 9 to go as they come across the stripe. This time, probably 8 to go at the restart. So will Rob Haynes be able to hang on for 8 laps? If you can, we've seen track position and a little bit of dirty air play a big role in making passing hard tonight. I wouldn't put it past him that he can hold on to the outside, the middle groove there, and just kind of swing the momentum in his favor. I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it for 8 laps.
It's going to be tough. It's a tall order what he's asking here to do. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that it's going to be tough. And also, you got to remember on the older tires, these start to lose traction here. You start to slip slide and everything else. When you only take 2 tires, well, that naturally makes you a little bit more looser to begin with in a lot of ways. So right there, he's going to have a handful in his own truck, let alone a handful behind him as well.
Yeah, I think that even the drivers that took 4 fresh tires, I think they're going to have a handful here. I think they're going to be pushing the limits of these Silverados and Tundras around the 2-mile track here at Michigan. And we might see over the seams and the crests and the bumps here a lot of sliding around and a lot of maybe some slide jobs. 11 minutes on the clock. We should be good as long as we stay green, but we will have an 8-lap shootout here for the finish. They've been ticking laps off at just under 40 seconds. Actually, just under 39 seconds, most of them.
Problem is that green yellow flag laps are in the minute 40 to minute 45 range. We don't need any more of those.
Exactly, but the conditions here are overcast. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a pop-up shower coming off of 3 or 4. And man, the Precision Racing League working alongside NASCAR, they're going to do their best to try to not lose the track. But I don't know.
Is that what you're saying? Rob Haynes is counting on the rain right now.
He might be pulling a Justin Haley strategy.
I think we're a few builds away from that. I think he's trying this move a little too early.
It's worked for some this year. It might work for Rob Haynes. He's got William Hartman, though, who doesn't want that to work.
Good jump.
On the outside. It is a very good jump on the inside. We go back racing. It's an 8-lap shootout for Michigan.
There we go, and that helps him. If Colton Lane here can clear William Hartman as well, that is only going to help Rob Haynes' case. Rob Haynes already trying to move up to that middle lane. No, he can cut back. Oh, he's loose. He's loose. He's trying to hang on. There goes his advantage. Colton Lane's going to come up here, coming down the back straightaway.
Colton Lane, the hard charger down the backstretch, drag race side by side for the lead. The 60 truck on the bottom. He's going to swing the speed in his favor. He clears.
He's still loose.
Bradley Holly's going to follow him. William Hartman. Everyone's going to be passing Rob Haynes here. That strategy did not pay off for him. How about Dominic Begine? He's moved up into the 3rd spot side by side with William Hartman down the front stretch.
And there goes Bradley Holly. He is just pushing Colton Lane exactly how he was William Hartman a little while ago. But Colton Lane has the 2 tires, so that right there, that's going to put the advantage there in Bradley Holly's favor. Bradley Holly's not going to play around with this very long. We got a cars in the wall coming out of 2.
Robert Malikian I see involved in this one, but the caution will definitely fly. And this started up, I believe, with the 21 of Adam Zemke. And it actually may have even started up a little in front of him with Jeffrey Smith in the... No, that wasn't Jeffrey Smith. Jean-Francois Champagne, I think, in the 13 got loose. Adam Zemke in the 21. Adam Zemke in the 21 definitely getting involved in this one as well. Almost looked like some synchronized spinning there.
A few hard hits. I don't know who is going to be out. It does look like Robert Malikian is going to be out. I see another truck out there smoking. Jean-Francois Champagne, his engine just can't tell if it just gave up the ghost. No, it's still trying to go. I bet he's going to do his best to limp around here the rest of the way.
Well, I would imagine the call for most of these drivers is going to be to stay out.
Well, Jean-Francois Champagne, his engine made up his mind for him. He just blew. He's done.
We come back live here to watch, seeing the damaged trucks on pit road. Looks like Rob Haynes is going to come down pit road.
We had an incident here on lap 50 coming out of 2 under yellow. Colin Carroll ran into the back of William Hartman, and Carroll actually has some pretty significant front end damage here.
You would be right, yeah. Carroll kind of not able to slow it up, it looks like, on the outside. It's coming out of turn 2.
When they were catching coming to the pace car.
Yeah, it's before this, it looks like, because he's got the damage there.
You know, so that right there is yeah, okay, so here we go on the GSRC replay. Looking out the back of William Hartman, not exactly the view you're going to want to see, because here comes Colin, and that Toyota Tundra front grille is going to get very big.
Well, that was a interesting loophole here, an interesting plot change.
Well, Bradley Holly coming out? No, okay. I was like, what?
Maybe
We
just
do have a few guys.
trying to
Who's
get
that?
some guys behind him.
Rob Haynes is coming down. I don't know. Rob Haynes kind of made his bed, I think. I think he's going to lose
Yeah.
more positions than he's going to be able to gain back here.
Pace light's still on as they just come across the line there, so I believe we only have one green-white checkered attempt. However, if we restart on 34, or on 54 rather, it's not gonna be considered a green-white checkered an overtime attempt. And I believe that's what we're setting up for. We do have 4 minutes, 45 seconds on the official clock. I think that'll leave us with about 1:15 when we take the green flag. We should be able to get all of these laps in.
If we stay
definitely
green.
exactly, but we won't have time for a green-white checkered either way. So I think we're going to have an old school iRacing finish here. Yeah, if I'm doing the math correctly, we should be able to get that second lap in. It could be a one-lap shootout depending on how long these pace laps last. They're ticking off at about a minute 43, minute 45. Yeah, we should be good. Assuming the lights go out this time. Which they will. You might as well
All right.
call it a green-white checkered.
That's pretty much what you're going to get here.
Not an extended finish, but we will at least try to race to that white flag if we get to it. If we get past 2 miles without any significant track blocking carnage, we've got a race on our hands. Another 2 miles back to the finish line. If not, the race will be called, and whoever's leading, right now it's Colton Lane, will be declared the winner. I'm sure Bradley Holly really just wants to stick his nose on the outside. We've seen him slip in behind. It's going to be a tough decision. Does Holly want to stay behind Colton Lane like he has this entire race and set up a slingshot, or does he not trust the rest of the field enough to not wreck and just wants to get his nose out there? I think you just got to go for it.
Oh, yeah. In this situation, yeah. I mean, especially once we hit that white flag lap with the way racing is at Michigan nowadays, expect the unexpected. I'll put it nicely like that. Kind of cliche, but, whatever works.
Points on the line. Huge championship implications for a couple of drivers here. It's going to be Colton Lane.
Not as good of a jump. Here comes Bradley Holly.
Side by side at the line. Yeah, fantastic jump there for Bradley Holly. Look at Colton Lane go up all the way to the top to block him. They head down into turn number 1. Who's going to have the preferred lane here? Holly's going to stay to the outside. Colton Lane goes to the bottom lane. Dominic Bajin enters the picture. He's in third on the podium looking for more. A little bit of lap traffic down on the apron. No harm, no foul. How about Bradley Holly all the way down next to the apron?
Got a car on the inside wall. Yellow's out.
It's Jay Counchnell.
I find this odd because he's well off the racing line.
Jay Counchnell gets into the back of Jeffrey Smith. And Jeffrey Smith actually went spinning and kind of straightened himself out. Unfortunately, the way he straightened himself out was shoving the O2 down the track and into the wall. Pretty hard into the tires down there.
Now, the question I have, and forgive my ignorance here on the
It's the
new
same question I
green-white
have.
checkered finish, is will the race still get called for time, or are we going to be able to have the green-white checkered finish?
I'm gonna guess that because the green white checkered got called before the server or the session ran out of time, I think we will still have this finish. Hopefully we do.
We'll
We're
find
gonna
out here in a
see.
second. But Colton Lane's getting, Colton Lane might turn out to have the genius play here. Big strategy move, able to hold him off.
Yeah, getting reports from the spotter stand that there are some sprinkles in the area.
But Bradley Hawley just came down pit road.
They're coming in. Yeah, this is Ollie has come
Did he
in.
not take enough fuel? That's
Oh,
the
that
only
could
thing I
be
can
it.
think of.
See how long the stop is. Is it just a splash?
I
No,
mean,
he's
no,
changing tires.
I mean, he had to come down pit road. He's going to be in the back anyway. Might as well take 4.
It's true. The sprinkles up on the spotter stand getting harder, we're hearing. Now hearing reports from a couple of the drivers in the race on that last restart. Colton Lane and Bradley Holly went so early they actually got black flagged for jumping the restart. They were just about passing the pace car on the outside, and it looks like Holly came down to serve that penalty. Colton Lane right now staying out.
I have to go back and look at that restart.
They were definitely on it early, and they may have passed the pace car before the pace car entered pit road. Now we have Bradley
Ooh.
Holly down in the pits, or now in the back, and Colton Lane right now staying out, hoping things go his way. Will he come down this time? He's going to stay out. I hope we don't have a Robbie Gordon situation. Pace light's still on.
I mean, will it go to 1 to go with him still on the track in this situation? This is unique. I don't think I've ever seen this before, ever.
All right, it sounds like, man, we're just speculating here. It sounds like we are going to be having the green-white checkered because it got called with about 45 seconds left in the 55-minute countdown. But the question is, if we do have the, well, we're hearing a couple different things, and I don't think any of these drivers are even sure what really to expect here. Either way, Colton Lane tentatively leads. Dominic Bagine, the driver of the 66 out of Canada, not only is he praying to the tech gods, he's praying to the clouds. Started 29th. I don't know as if he's ever won in the series. I know he's had a couple of good runs. Colton Lane's going to stay out on the track.
Oh, this is interesting.
They come across. This is intense.
We're still going to have to wait for, if this is it.
Exactly. It could
And
be.
I still see the yellow flag. The lights are off on the pace car.
Lights are off.
And the flag stand still had the yellow flag in hand when they went by.
Yeah, we're racing, I think.
Okay. So, the unique situation, first time it's ever happened, I think, in the history of iRacing, what we're seeing right here. And Colton Lane still on the track, so we don't know if he officially got the black flag or if he's just out there still. Either way, it'll be reflected at the end of the race results. But right now, I mean, he is still showing his P1. So we'll call it Colton Lane going to start this race in the inside row 1. Dominic Bajin right in the outside of row 1. The restart here is going to be everything. William Hartman's doing the little wiggles to try to get a little bit of heat in the tires, try to do something with them there. You got a couple of guys back here that are going to be really hungry.
Yeah, this is just bizarre, and we've got Bajin on the outside. The driver in the best situation might very well just be William Hartman. Not knowing if Colton Lane... I find it hard to believe that Colton Lane would avoid the black flag and Bradley Holly wouldn't after Lane started first, but he may have caught a break. Pace car going to pull off. We've got one green-white checkered attempt, at least 2 miles left of racing. They come back into the restart zone. Everyone on the loud pedal. It's a good start from Lane. It's a good start from Bajin on the outside, but another good start from William Hartman coming from third on the inside. It's going to be side by side for what we think is second place down into turn number 1.
Colton Lane gets another good jump. William Hartman getting a great push from Thomas Sink. Thomas Sink had a little bit of trouble earlier on. There's a wreck in turn 2. That is going to go yellow. You stay green. Staying green. Oh, this is a 5-car
battle.
Dominic Bajin fighting on the outside here, Nick.
This looks like they are coming up to the checkered flags. 3 wide behind them. Side by side for the lead. It looks like Dominic Bajin's just got a nose ahead of. And I believe Dominic Bajin
gets it by a wheel well.
He does. 9 1/1000ths of a second over Colton Lane in the 60 truck for Dominic Bajin. Let's take a look at this once again.
And Colton Lane, it has adjusted. His finishing order is now P23.
Yeah.
So while he finished him right there by a wheel well, Tyler Pluff is going to be scored second in the race.
He's failed post-race inspection. But the photo finish pretty to look at still.
You're not going to discount that.
Fantastic finish. Yeah, great driving by Dominic Bajin, too, as he does his burnout on the front stretch here. A very well-deserved victory for Dominic Bajin, his first of the season, quite possibly his first ever in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, at least for our broadcasts. We'll have to go back and look at that, but what a race there at Michigan International Speedway. He does a little bit of burnout in the virtual rain. We're going to take it to break here on the Global SimRacing Channel, but we've got a full rundown of drivers, finishing results, and some driver interviews when we come back. Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. Cloudy skies in the Irish Hills. It's Dominic Begine winning by a very fraction of a margin there, fraction of a second. Officially on the scoring sheets, as you'll see here, it's going to be by 83 1,000ths of a second, 8 100ths of a second over Tyler Pluff in the 4. William Hartman, Thomas Sink, Charles Sumner, the pole sitter, going to round out the top 5. Josh Daniels, Colin Carroll, Brandon Walter, Nick Delp, Kevin Fetty going to round out the top 10 behind them. Robert Basaw Jr. and Jeffrey Ford take it home in the top dozen. The 13th spot taken home is John LeBaff, Rob Haynes, and Brendan Chatley, who never really got it going on all cylinders today. He's going to round out the top 15. Austin Hunter going to come home in 16th after cutting his starting spot in half, 32nd there. Braden Johnson, championship contender, not the run he wanted to have, but it does pay off for him pretty decently. We'll find out in a moment why. He's going to finish in 17th. William Lee, 18th. Nicholas Hunter, 19th. Mike Richter, 20th. Adam?
Yeah, going back into 21st position, Jason Hounshaw. We were thinking there for a little while he might make a run for it. Gregory Dice, trouble early. Colton Lane, Bradley Hawley, both of them ending up with black flags. You saw it there at the end of the race. Colton Lane staying out to the end. Jeffrey Smith was one of the cars involved there on the last accident along Mitchell Clark. Jake Hounshaw, another one of the Hounshaw brothers that had some problems. Jean-Francois Champagne, we saw his engine blow. Same with Robert Melton, and Adam Zumkeef comes in 30th.
Right behind them, just a couple of drivers rounding out the field. Eric Roberts, Ray Richer, Bob McFarland, a couple of earlier DNFs. Mike Donahue, a very early DNF, and John Schwartz, who never took the grid today. We do have someone to talk to, though, and Dominic, you're going to have to help me out. Is this your first PRL NASCAR Truck Series win?
Yes, that is.
Well, congratulations on that. Heck of a finish. What was going through your brain through the last, I don't know if you want to call it a caution flag, green, white, checkered, whatever that was?
Yeah, at first I was kind of mad that yellow came out, and I didn't know if we would have a finish lap or we're just going to end up on yellow. And when I saw the white flag, I just said, well, let's just go for it. I didn't think I would be able to pass him in the turn 3 and 4 because I was on the outside. But, well, I don't know. I think I got the good line there, and yay, I won.
Exactly. Did you know the situation going on with a couple of the black flags and all that? I don't know if that was discussed amongst the drivers or anything, or was this kind of more of a surprise? Surprise you're in first place at the very end of this thing.
Yeah, well, I was in a few laps ago. I was thinking I was going to be ending in the top 3 because I was I was getting a lot of positions, but I don't know what happened at the end exactly. The only thing I know was the yellow that came out behind us, and after that, we just didn't know if it was going to go green again or just going to end on yellow. So
Yeah, so that's well, it's one heck of a way to get your first career victory in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. Is there anyone you want to thank or give a shout out to before we let you go this evening?
yeah, probably my girlfriend. We just got her new baby a month ago, and she just let me play one this week. So I'm grateful to that, and the guys at PRL League and you guys too. Awesome. Always watch the show too. It's amazing.
Oh, congratulations there to you and your girlfriend. Congratulations on the victory tonight at Michigan. Hopefully we get to talk to you later on in the season in the booth.
Of course, yes. See you guys.
That's your winner. The first time ever in the NASCAR PRL Truck Series. That was Dominic Begine, a driver who has had some good runs before and one we're a little more familiar with, though. Adam, you've caught up with William Hartman.
Yeah, William, hey, great run tonight. You're up front pretty much all race long and some great restarts out of you. You just had things timed perfect there on the restarts.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to have good track position the bulk of the race there, and had some really, really good restarts there to kind of keep that lead. So really, really fun race. I definitely didn't want to be back in the pack. It was pretty tough to make a pass and pretty wide open for a while. So it was nice to have the track position and be able to stay up front.
Yeah, we saw what happened there with Charles Sumner. Ended up falling in the mid pack. He never really could recover the rest of the race. But you, on the other hand, fantastic run. What do you think was between the fact that you finished in third, you led some laps? What was the difference between you being able to win this race here tonight? Just a little bit of luck, or was there something else?
Yeah, I think just kind of how the restarts were shaking out there towards the very end. Unfortunate to get a little bit of damage there towards the end of the race that kind of hampered our efforts on the last restart there. Felt like if we had a healthy truck, we probably could have contended there at the end, but those things happen, and not much you're going to do.
Well, next week we're going to go beating and banging at Bristol. You going to be all right there?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely not one of my best tracks, but a place that we'll put a bunch of effort in and see if we can come up with a good finish.
All right. Well, hey, William, thanks for joining us here. Anybody you'd like to thank real quick?
Yeah, I got to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast. Everybody over there at the PRL for putting together this league for us, and everybody who races. Really great racing every week. So can't thank those guys enough. And everybody over at Whataback, great race for us tonight. I think all of us in the top 5 there for a little while. So had a really, really good effort from everybody there.
Well, thanks for joining us, William, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you next week. And I think that he's going to catch up with Thomas Sink.
I have indeed, who brings the 48 truck home in 4th place tonight. Thomas, despite coming home in 4th place, you were only a little bit more than a 1/10 of a second off the winning that thing.
Yeah, no, I was killing myself on the pit stops again. It just seems to be my rhythm all season is I can't get in and out of my pit box properly. So had a good run though. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much more I could have done.
Well, one thing that I took notice of, you came into tonight 53 points back in the championship hunt. 4th place might not be the result you wanted, but you have Braden Johnson finishing in 17th, Bradley Holly finishing in 24th. You took a decent chunk out of that gap tonight. Is that still in your mind heading into Bristol?
It wasn't, an hour ago. I was pretty much set like, hey, I'm just going to worry about getting 3rd, especially after the season I had last season. And now I guess I'm going to have to start focusing on working with Brad and trying to get a Whataback Racing 1-2 championship here.
Yeah, Whataback Racing, that is something that we were talking about earlier. Pretty dominant in the teams standings, dominant in the time charts. I think you guys were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in practice. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about Whataback Racing? They came along tonight to sponsor tonight's race, and we'd love to hear more about the group of guys you work with.
Yeah, we got a great group of guys. We all started out as competitors that we all seemed to run fairly decent around each other, and we just decided to team up for a super speedway one day, and it just developed from there. And we just, we go out and we practice, we work our strategy, and it's more or less a team that we're just working to have a group of friends and have fun racing. That's mostly what it's about. Couldn't
have said it better myself. Pretty awesome community in all of iRacing, in the Precision Racing League, especially for you guys in that team, Whataback Racing. Congratulations on your 4th place finish tonight. Hopefully we can talk to you later on in the season.
Thank you, and I must say congratulations, Dominic. He fulfilled the bounty on Brad, and we'll see you guys next week.
That was Thomas Sink, driver of the number 48, who brings it home in 4th place tonight. What a great group of guys. Great interviews there from a couple of the top finishers. We want to give a special thank you as well to everyone who came out tonight for the 8th round in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series, especially everyone who helps in the organization and the behind-the-scenes logistics over at the PRL. We also want to thank Established Traffic Control and Whataback Racing once again for sponsoring tonight's race, and an additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team tonight, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. Make sure to check out the GSRC on social media as well. You can do that at our website on globalsimracingchannel.com, on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook on Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham, and of course on our YouTube channel right here, right now. You're already here. Just scroll down just a little bit. Hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. That's going to do it for the racing tonight in the Precision Racing League, but the PRL NASCAR Truckers will be back next Wednesday night, still same time, 8:50 p.m. Eastern, for the penultimate round of the season and the last oval that these drivers will face, the mighty Coliseum in Bristol, Tennessee. You're not going to want to miss that. Finally, with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.